This story was told by Mr. Arm, who heard it firsthand from someone very close to him. It all began back when Mr. Arm was still working in Bangkok. The tale revolves around a group of friends from his school years: Aik, Nui, Pooh, Nui's girlfriend, Ton, and Nut. Well, Aik wasn't especially close to Nut. Nut and Nui shared a particularly tight bond. One day, Nui and Pooh ran into Aik and Ton and told them they had recently seen Nut. Nut had proposed the idea of getting the old group together again. Rather than meeting at a pub as usual, Nut had a different plan. He offered up a vacant house that belonged to one of his relatives. This house had once been used to host Thai traditional performances, a home stage for like, a form of Thai folk opera. It still had Thai instruments scattered about, but since Nut's grandmother had passed away, no one had lived there. Nut suggested they go challenge the spirits in the empty house. Nui, who had always been bold, liked the idea. He pitched it to Aik and Ton, saying it would be more exciting than their usual night out. If nothing happened, they could always go drinking afterward. The group agreed unanimously, and they set their meeting time at the classic hour for ghostly encounters, around 1 a.m. The house was at the very end of a dark, narrow alley opposite a temple. It was utterly silent and isolated. The house itself was a mix of Thai and European colonial architecture, concrete on the first floor, and traditional Thai wood on the second. When they arrived, the ground floor was dim and quiet, but not necessarily frightening. Nut led them upstairs and laid down some strict rules. No flashlights, no phones, only one candle per person. And the bravest among them had to go up alone first with a candle. If the flame blew out, they could only try lighting it again 3 times, no more. Aik volunteered to go first. He walked through every room upstairs, followed by each friend in turn. Only Nut refused to go. Once everyone had taken their turn, it seemed like nothing unusual had occurred. The house was silent. But Nui, eager to impress Pooh, wasn't satisfied. He suggested they play the spirit calling game using a glass. Nut refused instantly and said he would wait outside if they insisted on playing. But Nui was adamant. With no paper or pen, Nui decided to improvise. He arranged candles on the floor and then did something unthinkable. He took a glass from the spirit house downstairs. Nut tried to stop him, but Nui brushed him off and told him to wait outside. Still lacking materials, Nui challenged the spirits directly. If ghosts were real, he said, they could answer through the glass without any letters. Pooh was clearly scared, but Ton seemed unaffected. They placed the spirit house clasp in the center of the upstairs floor and began calling out, asking any spirits to come forward. But nothing happened. Growing bored, Nui went back downstairs and returned with a Thai culture dancer doll from the same spirit house. Aik asked why, and Nui said, maybe the spirits needed a target, a form to connect with. It was a deeply disrespectful act. Still, nothing happened. They left the glass and the doll where they were and went home, believing the night had been a dud. The next day, around 6 p.m., Ton called Aik in a panic. He begged to stay at Aik's house, saying he hadn't slept in 2 days. Aik assumed it was a domestic issue, but Ton insisted. When Ton arrived, he looked like a wreck. He described 2 terrifying nights. On the first night, around 3 a.m., he heard a drum beating, the distinct sound of a klong thop, a drum used in Thai classical music. It went on all night. The next day, he tried to nap in a darkened room, but the same sound came again. He opened his eyes and saw a woman dressed as a Lee K dancer performing in front of him. Her arms moved gracefully, but they stretched unnaturally long every time she raised them, all the way to the ceiling. Her eyes never left his, and her grin was wide and wrong. Ton bolted and ran to Aik's place. Aik was skeptical. He hadn't seen anything himself, but Ton's condition unnerved him. 4 days later, Aik decided to visit Ton again, but Ton and his family had disappeared. They had moved out without a word. No one had heard from them since. Aik was shaken. He decided to visit Nui and Pooh to find out if they had experienced anything. At the dinner table, Aik sat between them and told them about Ton's disappearance. Nui claimed nothing strange had happened, but then, out of nowhere, he muttered, "I don't know why, but I want my wife to be a Lee K dancer." Pooh broke down in tears immediately. Aik thought it was a cruel joke and told Nui to stop, but Nui grew agitated. He shouted, "Why do you care? She's my wife. I want her to dance. What's it to you?" Then, without warning, Nui pulled a gun and shot Pooh in the head. Aik was frozen in shock. Nui then turned the gun on himself and pulled the trigger. Both died in front of him. Aik ran for his life. As he fled, he heard the drum again. He turned and saw Nui and Pooh standing in the hallway, dancing. He ran straight into the nearby temple. A novice monk found him trembling and called the abbot, who sprinkled holy water and helped calm Aik down. Once Aik recovered, he explained everything. The abbot listened carefully and then told Aik the truth. Nui and Pooh had been dead for 2 to 3 days. Nui had died from a fall, and Pooh from sudden cardiac arrest. Horrified, Aik begged to be ordained. He stayed in the temple for 5 days preparing to become a monk, but he still heard the drum every day. The abbot advised him to go back to the house and make amends with the spirits. He went with his parents and monks to the house to perform a proper ritual. Afterward, just as they were leaving, Ake saw an old photo on the wall. It was not. Beneath his picture were his birth and death dates. Nut had died nearly a year ago. That meant Nut, who had invited them all, was already dead when this started. No one had noticed. In that dark house, lit only by candles, no one saw what they should have. One small decision had led to the unraveling of multiple lives. Nut, already dead, invited the living to his domain. Ton vanished with his family, never to be heard from again. Nui and Pooh, both deceased before Ake's final visit, acted under a ghostly influence. Ake, the sole survivor, became a monk, and remains so to this day. Even when he told Mr. Arm this story, his face remained eerily calm, as if he had long accepted the consequences of tampering with the unknown.